and then when you know you can't truly understand, it's the unknown is what crushes me. Is I can only forecast, and so my forecast, what if it's worse? You know, a little offended. You know, I can feel your eyes go from the ground to the from floor up when I walk in the room, and I feel objectified.
It's the shoes. We want to know what you're wearing.
Clothes. Some Y3s. Yeah, yeah. You knew that though. You knew that, Hal. You're like Y3s. Yeah, without a doubt. I get it. Barry, what's taking you so long?
We were
Wait.
Mike Cunio and Will.
Oh, you're in cahoots, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's news elements
Okay,
to it.
so yeah.
Mike, curious, have you had any update on the situation with Tyreek? Any clarity on what happened and just kind of how you move forward with this for him?
No, I mean the time since yesterday to now, I think for me personally, it's been hard for me not to find myself more upset the more I think about it, and that's because of my teammates and trying to put myself in that emotion or in that situation that they've described emotionally. And then knowing more than that, I think the thing that fucks me up, honestly, to be quite frank, is knowing that I don't know exactly. I don't know what that feels like. I think it's very, very important that that two things should be true. That I think you let due process work and information to be gathered to appropriately project an opinion. However, that I can't get away from the fact of what I know their experience to be, and you try to put yourself. If I'm Calais Campbell and I'm 38 years old, and you're going to work, and then whatever personal innocence that you have relative to he's never had. You're a gigantic, strong, just miraculous man that has done right in all way, shapes, and forms, and there's just elements to that's very triggering. But I do think that it's supremely important to wait for information to be gathered before any rush to judgment. But regardless, I know the feelings expressed to me are not are unsettling. So it's but two things did come from the adversity. Super proud of teammates being teammates, and super proud of our guys understanding the civic responsibility of a platform and intending to do right by it.
To follow up on that, we've heard all summer how close this team has been. To see two not only just teammates, but new teammates, and John and Calais stop and come to his aid. I gotta imagine that's a pretty powerful coaching moment for you.
It's what you hope your team is comprised of. You know, situations that you can't plan for sometimes give you the best window into, you know, where your team's at. I'm very proud that they see each other as teammates and hold that in regard the way they do. You know, it's you spend as much time, you are so interwoven into the story that is their lives, that you hope that people, you hope that teammates understand that we are extended family, and so it was, you know, I was very happy that, you know, a guy in a situation like that didn't feel alone.
You're clearly very aware and have perspective, probably we don't, about the impact of race in this country. Police, excessive use of force, racism. I'm curious as to, has that perspective changed over time, or is this something that's always been something that's really emotional for you?
Well, yeah, because it's two-part, because I guess my journey has left me aware, but at the same time, there's a huge level of, like, I don't know, because I'm not, you know, simply by my appearance, I'm not, you know, I don't have that, I don't have a history of feeling profiled. So that, you know, I'm not sure if that makes it, I don't, it for me in particular, I just feel pretty helpless at times. But, you know, it's not, it's really not about, situations like that. It's not about the emotions that arises for me, you know. It's about the people in it, and I just don't. It's probably more visceral, because yes, I do spend a lot of time prioritizing empathy, and then when you know you can't truly understand, it's the unknown is what crushes me. Is I can only forecast, and so my forecast, what if it's worse? You know, like, it's just yeah, it's always yeah. Since I was young, the racial relations and all things involved in that has been, you know, it's just kind of one of those things that I'm on the outside looking in at everything going on. So, but I know for one thing, my appearance lends me to the journey of many not alienated, you know. So
that being said, how impressed were you the way Tyreek was able to bounce back after all the pregame drama?
You know, I think I was very, very impressed by him individually and collectively his teammates. You know, I was just very impressed with everyone to really, to me, the teammates minimized whatever was going on as much as possible, because, you know, I think teammates, they did a great job of understanding like what the game means to Tyreek, and tried to you know, assist him as best they could to be able to do what he loves, because it is especially when you're hitting the expert level of anything, that there's a safe place there, you know, that you know the ground rules firmly, and that you can you know, do what you really love to do. So I think protecting that from a teammate standpoint and supporting them was very, very powerful.
Mike, in the past, you've discussed the difficulty of wanting to have the answers for your players, but sometimes having to accept that you don't have them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't reach that. So what do you mentioned not being able to know what that experience feels like. What can you tell guys like Tyreek and Calais in a situation like this?
You know, I think it's better to listen more than anything. You know, I think life is super humbling, and I think it's important to recognize when your words don't mean shit. And like, what am I going to say? You know?
Like, what was the process like in the locker room? It was such an odd incident to happen right before a game. And I sense that something had to have happened in the locker room for everybody to get their heads back in the game and just get their focus where it needed to be. Was it something you said, something Tyreek said, or how did that work?
There was some key players that are leaders of this team that I think did a great job of communicating to other players via word of mouth when they were getting close to arriving to the locker room, and they were met by teammates in the locker room. So I think that in it itself, you know, you try to put yourself through their timeline, and you know, however long it lasted, there was certain feelings during the situation, but then the second they got in the locker room, have numerous people come physically to them to greet them and support them. That's how it was handled. You know, you want to make sure your guy's okay, and in that process, you want to make sure that they do not feel alone.
Mike, we're a day removed from this incident happening, more than 24 hours. The Miami-Dade Police Department has made a commitment to transparency.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the body-worn camera video yet, which might clear up a lot. I'm not sure whether you've thought about that or talked about it. Do you have any thoughts about their releasing that video? And is there anything that you can address relative to the importance of them releasing that video?
No, I think that you let the process take its time. I'm not. It's one thing for timeliness of it. You know, I think for anyone to have an opinion, if there are facts, they should have facts before they have an opinion. So, you know, I'm not. You know, I don't pretend to know all the things involved in that process. So for me to even have an opinion about today and having expectations for it to be released today, I think that would be short-sighted on my part. I don't know what goes on with that, and you know, I think that there's a lot of things that they have to you know, I'm confident that everything will get reviewed, and I am confident that this is too much in the spotlight to just sweep under the rug. So I feel like you know, what I don't know now, it's not my time to know. But you know, I think facts supersede everything. So I think it's important for people to allow a fair process for all information to get distributed, you know, because that's I think kind of it's just not something that I don't think I wouldn't want people to. I just think that's kind of a super important pillar for me to stand on for my scope, is that, you know, I don't think it's fair to anybody to rush to judgment. That's why my emotion comes from the journey, and the experience from my teammates, and then, you know, extrapolated to other things. That's where the emotion comes from. But I think you have to let the process play out. I think that's super important.
Mike, you're obviously very emotional about this. I'm sure a lot of guys on the team are emotional about it. How tough is it to get focused on a game for Thursday?
No, I think that, you know, there's a good amount of, I would venture to guess, that one of the favorite parts of being in the NFL and being on an NFL team is that we are able to immerse ourselves into something that's a tangible goal that you have, you know, some control over. Right? And I think that, you know, a lot of times, you know, it's therapeutic to be in the process of NFL game week and a Thursday night division opponent. You know, there's a lot of very constructive things to think about, and, you know, sometimes that's that can be our greatest gift, is that gift of supreme distraction, if it were. So, you know, I think our guys are highly motivated to, you know, especially when the world creeps in on you and rattles you a little bit. You know, there's I think some comfort in our known prepare for an opponent, know your assignments, and play together type of orchestration of football that is you know, timely for the, you know, I think, I don't know about this particular situation, but in times, and you there's just been innumerable times of things happening in all ways, shapes, or forms to players, and they find the comfort in the process and the commitment to each other and the team. So I think it will, when I see guys, what is it tomorrow? What is tomorrow? When I see all the team together tomorrow, I have I think a pretty sound expectation of guys being very, very focused on our next opponent, which happens to be in the division, and they happen to play in Buffalo.
I do, if you don't mind, ask one football question about that. Mike, do you believe at all in the thought that a team has the other team's number, so to speak, given what has happened the last, 15 matches or so even preceding you? And how much is it to clear that mental hurdle to beat a team like that within your division, knowing it's so important even early in the season?
Yeah, I think there's always I worry about the risk of people modeling a current team and in a current or a specific opponent on a new team based upon old things. So like, there's a lot of players on this team that just played that didn't play Buffalo with the Miami Dolphins last year. There's a lot of people that the first time they played Buffalo was last season, so to be all encompassing, I've never subscribed to it. But you have to make sure that your team is there and that your team doesn't see it that way as well, because you can wish stuff into existence. To me, I think it's very involved in fan bases, which we feel, and it's very motivating for our ultimate goals and what we want to do with the season. But to have someone's number, I think on either side, you're kind of dismissing all the things that have changed that makes this new team what it is. So, I think that for this team, we know the stakes of it, but at the same time, I don't think that anybody is thinking about the Buffalo Bills as anything but the team that's won the division for however many years in a row, that has had very successful seasons, the last handful of previous ones, and know that collectively they will play hard, determined, physical football. But beyond that, I think these are two new teams playing against each other. I know if you're on the opposite end, I've been, when I was in San Francisco, I think I can't remember how many we won playing the Rams in a row. But on the winning side, you're fearful of people thinking that it's just the decal, that's winning these games, because that it's a very competitive league, and if you take anything to be assumption, like you have someone's number, you will get proven wrong quickly. So I think that the two teams playing is absolutely one of my favorite things in the National Football League, because you have I think it starts with the fan base. That when you know your fan base wants no part of losing to another team, you can feel it in the stadium. You can feel the energy and those stakes. The bottom line is you get into this business for stakes like that. So it should be really fun football that will be hard earned. It'll definitely be physical, and I think the winning team will have to earn it, and so we'll be in a situation where we're trying to prepare ourselves this week to be that team, and I absolutely know with full conviction that the boys in Buffalo will be doing the same.
A football question about Jalen.
Yep.
I know Waddle finished the game, but how is he? Ramsey, how is the hamstring? Phillips, how is the Achilles? Will all of them? Have you
Okay.
seen them, and what is their status for Thursday? As much as you know.
Okay, so I guess the ones going into the game, simply by the snap count, it was a positive experience for Jalen. Right? You heard how I said, they spell them differently, so I say them differently. It was Jalen that, right? But I think they probably had some more snaps than we might have had in our minds. Very careful to not put something in their heads, but I think that playing over 50% of the snaps for both those guys was the only way that happens is because you're testing the waters and you feel very good about what's occurring. So those were positive things, absolutely. And then the Jalen Waddle was from upstairs. He was called into the tent based upon what they saw, and independent neurologist cleared him. So so I think he should be good to go as we move forward.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.